to infinity and beyond. Well, not really. Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys today? I recently rewatched Interstellar, not once but twice. It happened to be on twice on the same channel on the same day, and I watched it both times. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. May just be my most favorite movie ever. But here's the thing. I really love space travel. I love anything that has to do with that, you know, movies, books, games, any kind of media having to do with space exploration, things of the sort. And Interstellar may just be the best space movie, like, in the entire history of cinema, but it may also just be the most confusing. Here's why. Interstellar is a very complex scientific movie that struggles, really struggles to explain a lot of things that many people of a more average IQ level may not understand. Now here's the thing, as my title suggests, it's not clickbait. The movie really is a smart movie made for dumb people. Not exactly dumb like retarded, but people like me who aren't the most, you know, who aren't like fucking geniuses or anything. Now, the thing is, the movie, it's perfect. It's flawless. I have no complaints at all. It is an awesome movie, but it just doesn't make any sense at all in some aspects. Now, be aware, of course, of major spoilers coming up in this video, but it came out in 2014. We're in 2017. If in the last 3 years you still haven't watched it, then you just suck, okay? Go watch it right now, then come back and watch this video, or watch the video anyway. But if you have seen the movie, let me give you a detailed analysis of my point of view of it. Here's the thing, Interstellar, basically the story is about the planet. In every kind of scientific movie that involves planet Earth, it's always about the planet dying for some reason and all of us being fucked while we're on it. Now, the thing about Interstellar is that it's about the planet being too polluted, and so as a sort of like result, as a last means resort, NASA wants to send a few astronauts to different galaxies to try and find planets that are habitable for humans so they can migrate planet Earth, or a good part of planet Earth, to these planets. What they don't know, what the characters don't know, is that it's actually a ploy to get those few astronauts to go to these planets and repopulate, even though there's like 1 woman and 10 fucking men. I don't get how that's supposed to work. But anyway, I think that the plot is really interesting. It's very nice. It's something different that we haven't actually seen. And the way that they utilize space travel and space science in the movie is just fantastic. You know, it's great. It's brilliant. But here's the thing. Like I said before, there are certain times, certain periods in the movie where they try to use too much science and it ends up not making a single lick of fucking sense at all. Let me start off with the first scene where you see that present, when they go inside a wormhole. Now, no one knows exactly for sure 100% how a wormhole works, because as far as I know, no one has gone through one and come out the other side to come back and explain how they work. But basically, what scientists theorize is that once you go through a wormhole is something that bends space. So it makes sort of like a shortcut from one point in space to another. Basically, if you're here and you want to get somewhere that's a few light years away, if you go through a wormhole, instead of taking light years to get there, you could take, say, minutes, you know, or maybe just less light years. I don't know. If a journey takes 10 light years, you would only take 1 light year to get there through a wormhole, because light years in space are complicated. Like, light years in space are more years here on Earth. So let's say maybe, I don't know, you go to space and you go to a distant planet and you come back to Earth, it's gonna be like 30 or 40 years later, even though it wasn't that long there. I don't know, something like that. Space is really complicated. It's really big and it's just really complex. There's a lot of stuff that I don't understand, though I really do take an interest in it. Now anyway, back to the movie. When they go through this wormhole, they emerge on another side of the galaxy, light years away from where they entered the wormhole. So they are, well, really further away from Earth when they go here. And now, I'm not exactly sure. The way that they illustrated the wormhole in the movie is really intricate. They made like a three-dimensional sphere, and it's huge. It's gigantic. It's actually scary how big the damn thing is. So they go through there, and it's sort of like a time warp. It distorts space and time, and then they come out on another place. Okay, that is actually surprisingly easy to swallow. It's not that hard to grasp if you understand how wormholes work. No one has seen one up close to actually know, but scientists and astronauts, astronomers, they can pretty much paint a picture of how it works. That part is okay. See a freaking truck driving by right as I'm recording. Now that part is actually easy to comprehend. I don't think you have to be a genius to figure that part out. That's okay. Even though there is another scene where they go to this planet, right? And this is what always twists my brain when it comes to space. How time works and how it's relative in different, celestial bodies, different planets, to Earth. Let me try to break it down. There's a scene in Interstellar where they go to a planet and every 1 hour on that planet is equal to 7 years here on Earth. I have no idea how the hell that works because I know it has to do with relativity, and Einstein explained this 1,000 times. He died explaining this. He explained the hell out of it throughout his whole life. Okay, I get it. Einstein's theory of relativity. It's all over the goddamn movie, okay? But I don't understand how it works. How can here on Earth we live 7 years and somewhere else someone lives an hour through an hour? It just doesn't make sense, okay? And the movie does explain it. It has to do with the gravity, the gravitational forces of the Earth. The days last longer, the nights are, I don't know. It's just crazy, okay? In fact, on this planet, there's such a strong gravitational pull that the entire planet is made of water, and there are tidal waves the size of the friggin' Burj Khalifa, they're huge tidal waves, and it's just crazy. And it's probably the most powerful scene in the entire movie because they spend hours on that planet. They somehow end up spending hours there because they go through complications. Like I said earlier, 1 hour on that planet is equal to 7 years on Earth. So when they finally get back to their home, their mothership, it's been 23 years on Earth. And this is where Matthew McConaughey really shines as an actor, because in this scene, Cooper, the character that he plays, he goes into the computer and he sees video messages that his son left him after 23 years. And he sees his son grow up and get married and have a son of his own all through video messages. And that's really touching. It's really heart-wrenching. It's a really powerful scene. And any lover of cinema can easily cry during that scene. And eventually we see his daughter. This is really fucking crazy. In the movie, he tells his daughter that there's a chance that by the time he gets back to Earth, she and him might be the same age. And when he leaves, he's 31, if I'm not mistaken. And when she ignores him. She holds a grudge for him having left. And when she finally does send him a message, it's to say that it's her birthday and she's 31, the same age that he was when he left. So he could come back now. It's a good time for him to come back. A good time for him to come back, Daddy. So and she's played by Jessica Chastain now, so it's a win-win for everyone, you know what I mean? Jessica Chastain, didn't know? Okay. So basically, yeah, that's it really, and that whole scene is just really crazy. And another thing that I want to discuss is the ending. Towards the end of the movie, our character Cooper, our hero, a protagonist, he goes into a black hole. Yes, he goes into a black hole. Now, I'm no astronomy expert. I love space. I love studying it, researching, watching movies, reading books about it. But I'm not like the smartest space genius, ever. However, I do think I have a pretty good idea of what happens if you go into a black hole. Basically, you don't live through that shit, okay? Now, the same way as a wormhole, no one has gone through, thank God, no one has ever gone through a black hole, because I'm pretty sure that if they did, they wouldn't live to tell the tale later. No one knows what happens inside a black hole, okay? But I think it's safe to assume that you die, and it's a really painful death, because here's how black holes work. They have such a strong force, a gravitational pull, that not even light can escape them, Like if you happen to turn on a lamp near a black hole, it's gonna suck the light right from the lamp and then suck the lamp and then suck you. So, nothing can escape a black hole. And it's crazy because the movie illustrates a black hole as having a lot of light around it. Gargantua. It's like a supermassive black hole. And of course, the only reason they show light around it is so we can see it as we watch the movie, or else we just would see a black hole there. And it's really crazy because here's how a black hole specifically works. There's something called an event horizon, which is the point of the black hole that something, substance of matter, enters the black hole. That's the event horizon, appropriately named because that's where the event takes place. That's where you cross the horizon inside of a black hole. Now, here's the thing. Any variable that gets too close to something like that will immediately be just departicularized. You know, all of the particles, the molecules, atoms, everything will just be sucked into the black hole, will be pulled right from the body. Now, basically, if you observe a black hole through a telescope per se, and you see an object approaching the event horizon, you're going to see it getting closer and closer and closer until it stops. It just stops. It freezes at the event horizon. And that's what you're going to see for a couple of minutes, a few moments. You're going to see it freezing. Then it's just going to disappear. All you're going to see is the black hole. It's literally going to disappear. Why? Well, that's what everyone is trying to find out. That's what scientists and astronomers are trying to discover. But basically, what happens is that this is how the theory of black hole goes. The spaghetti effect. As you get to the event horizon, when you're about to cross it, that's the point of no return. So let's say a human being goes through a black hole. The theory goes that you're going to be stretched out like a spaghetti noodle and then just vanish as all of your molecules, your particles, your atoms just like get stretched out, you know, and boom, you just vanish into thin air as the black hole sucks in your matter. Now, I honestly can't imagine anything more painful than that. That's probably the most painful way to die in the universe, honestly. Even worse than drowning and being set on fire, getting your dick chopped off. Now, it's a really violent thing to think about, and like I said, no one has ever gone into a black hole. No one has sent anything in there to see any telescopes or anything like that, because if you send anything through a black hole, it's not going to come back out. But I think it's pretty interesting how scientists arrive at that figure. But basically, let's get back to the movie here. In the final moments of Interstellar, Cooper goes into a black hole. Now, as I was watching this in the movie theater, I almost choked on my popcorn because I was scared. I was like, this is going to be so violent. How are they going to show this in a movie? This is going to be really crazy. I was like cringing. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so violent. What the fuck? There's like violence and all. You see, this is why I normally watch movies alone and not with my friends, because I act that way and they always look at me like... But anyway, he goes into the black hole, and as I'm expecting something really violent to happen, it doesn't. Nothing happens. He just sort of goes into it and floats down ever so gently for a while. Then everything starts shaking and like dust particles start flying to his ship, and then he ejects from his fucking ship inside the black hole, and the ship just disappears into oblivion, and he starts floating downwards. And then here's the crazy part. This is the craziest part of Interstellar. He somehow goes through a time spiral. He goes through a loop somewhere, and he just somehow ends up in this weird fifth dimension. And he's floating there, and there's like a whole bunch of crazy backgrounds and all of that, and we later find out that he's like poking inside a tesseract or some shit. It turns into a fucking Transformers movie, for crying out loud. And the tesseract, what is a tesseract? And then it's like he's inside, and then suddenly he's behind his daughter's bookcase in her bedroom from earlier in the movie. What? It doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, and here's the thing. If you're gonna use time travel in a movie, you at best explain the shit out of that damn thing so I can understand it, alright? Because I'm really annoying. I'm really picky. I'm nitpicky when it comes to time travel. It has to be something really easy to understand. The butterfly effect is pretty straightforward. You go back in time and you do something and it can affect the future. If you go back and alter the past, it's going to alter the future. I can totally get behind that. Butterfly effect, it makes sense. Now, here's the thing. Have you guys ever seen Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban? Watch the movie, not read the book. Have you ever watched the movie? Because it's easier to understand than the book. There's a scene in the movie during real time where something happens to the characters and we don't know what happened. It just happens. We're like, okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, cool. And then later, later on in the movie, when they travel back in time, and we actually see that it was them doing the things that we saw earlier. So it was like, oh, so it was them all along. That's cool, okay. But if they hadn't gone back in time, or if they hadn't done that, would the events of the present take place? You see, that's what really kills me. It just makes no sense at all. And Harry Potter is a really awesome book series. The third book is great. It's incredible, and I know it's really, but I think it's easier to understand watching the movie than reading the book. But see, when movies use time travel or books or video games or whatever, it can get really complicated. And Interstellar is the most complicated thing of all, because as we watch the movie in real time for the first time around, we see these things happening. And apparently, we find out later, it was actually Cooper all along manipulating these events. But since the movie happened, he wasn't successful, you know, in changing the events that happened beforehand. And now somehow he's talking to a radio, one of his robots on a radio intercom, and then he uses Morse code through a watch. He sends a message to his daughter through a watch with Morse code. I don't know if the focus is getting on. Well, why isn't the focus on my watch? Jesus Christ, camera, focus on the watch. What the hell is wrong with you? Why is the watch? Ah, fuck it. Anyway, so basically he sends his daughter a message through Morse code through a watch that actually looks similar to this one. That's why I'm wearing it for the video. And it takes her years to figure it out. She decodes it, and when she does, I don't know, stuff happens. I started messing around on my cell phone towards the end of the movie the second time around. But basically she figures out the formula to discover the theory of relativity or something like that. She discovers quantum, I don't know, man. She just figures something out. Watch the damn movie. I'm not going to spoil the whole damn thing too. Watch the movie. And she figures something out that allows people to discover new ways of making the Earth better, or traveling. Or basically she saved the planet. She saved the fucking planet. There, damn it. She saved the day. She's a Powerpuff Girl. And it's really cool because somehow Cooper is able to be rescued and brought back to like a sort of weird Elysium looking place, like a space station that has artificial everything, and he's alive after so many years. And it's funny because there's a scene where he's sitting on the porch of his house drinking a beer like he was doing earlier in the movie Earth. So he basically didn't change a bit. And it's pretty funny because he ends up right where he was before at the beginning of the movie, just sitting down on his porch having a beer in this new Elysium place, and the same thing he was doing before. I think it's kind of funny because he pretty much hasn't changed a bit. But here is the total mindfuckery part of Interstellar. This is really crazy. When he goes to see his daughter, Murph. Now this is insane because Murph is now an old lady dying of old age. And he goes to see her. I mean, what? Imagine. Try to imagine this. Like, you're a father and you're going to see one of your kids, and the last time you saw them, they were like 10, and now when you see them, they're dying of old age. I'm not a father yet. I hope to be someday, but I can't imagine going through that with a daughter of my own. And imagine Murph's head. Imagine the daughter's head. The last time she saw her dad, he was 31. And now she lived a full life without her father by her side. And now when she's like about to die, literally laying in a hospital bed full of apparatuses on her, on life support, her father comes back and he hasn't aged a fucking day. He hasn't aged an hour, literally, because the movie Interstellar freaking messes with time warp and some black holes and wormholes and the tesseract, the space-time continuum, and Matthew McConaughey looked exactly the same now as he did at the beginning of the movie. So what the fucking fuck? And my mind was blown during that scene, and he has to go away. He can't watch his daughter die, obviously, and then he has to go out and find Anne Hathaway, the character played by her. I forgot what the freaking character's name is called, but basically, she's off on a planet, stranded somewhere, trying to find her lost lover who died. And so the movie ends on a cliffhanger. I don't know if there will be a sequel. I don't think there can be. How can you make a sequel to a movie like Interstellar, you know? It's kind of one of those movies where I guess you need a cliffhanger ending, but anyway. It's still a really awesome movie. It's great. I love it a lot. I think this video is long as hell. Maybe even 20 minutes. I don't know. I'm just recording a whole bunch of stuff. But guys, I'm gonna try to finish it off so it doesn't take too much of your time. Plus my camera's already dying, my battery's low. But guys, basically Interstellar is a really good movie, but it's really complicated to understand. It's very, very intelligent, it's intricate, it's really well put together, it's very well made. but it's so damn complicated sometimes. It's so complex. I probably don't understand half of it, you know? And it takes hours for you to go to space, you know? It's just complicated, and I can't really understand much of it. But hey, at least I tried, you know? I tried to understand. I tried to analyze it here for you dudes. I really did. I'm not sure how you guys can see it. Here's the thing. Go over later to CinemaSins channel and watch this video here of everything wrong with Interstellar, where Jeremy from CinemaSins, he did a collaboration with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's a really, you know, dependent source for scientific knowledge and astronomy and all of that things, and he understands a lot. And the video shows everything wrong with the movie, and it's 22 minutes long. They talk a lot about things wrong with it and how it was actually that video that sort of inspired me to create this one just after watching the movie, because he touches on a lot of really interesting topics, and I think it's good for me to cover them too, because it's a really interesting thing to talk about, space and movies. So when you mix the two, it's awesome. So guys, that has been today's mixer, and really great movie, Interstellar. You guys really should watch it. It's 2017. It came out 3 years ago. If you still haven't watched it, get it on Blu-ray or something, you know, and watch it. It's really, really awesome. I love it a lot. Props to the entire cast, an ensemble cast. We've got Matthew McConaughey, we've got Anne Hathaway, we've got Michael Caine, we've got that old dude who played James Franco's grandfather in Planet of the Apes. We've got a whole bunch of characters, okay? We've got the little girl from The Conjuring, because I don't know everyone's names, but it's still a really good film. And everyone deserves recognition. They acted really well in that movie, especially Matthew McConaughey. Really like him a lot. He's completely away from his dead surfer persona from before, and it's really great. Thank you guys for watching, for sticking around. Like this video if you enjoyed my really deep and detailed analysis of Interstellar. And I guess that's it, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will probably be something for What's the Damage, because I haven't done that in a while. And I will see you guys there. Bye-bye.